Yeah, happy to be here and talk about the pursuit of high-tech innovation. I want to start with the very first slide that I saw just 1 week ago, presented by the CEO of the High-Tech Gründerfonds. Who knows the High-Tech Gründerfonds? So for those who don't, this is one of the most relevant seed investors in Germany. And so they got a lot of data of companies, of a young startup team that apply for funding in a very early stage. What you see on this graph basically is the red line telling us this is the number of requests for funding, teams pitching to the High-Tech Gründerfonds. And you see that over the time from 2005 to 2015. And what you see that this number of requests is going up tremendously. That's great. But what you also see, and so the black line says, these are qualified requests. These are requests we are really looking at. And then you see the blue line. And this line tells us, wow, these are really high quality requests. High quality teams and projects approaching us. And what you can see, the number of this third group of requests is like constant. So he called it like this is a crap range. And it's increasing. More and more people, more and more teams approaching us with, these are stupid ideas, like we invented the perpetuum mobile. We are going to create the second Facebook. Great idea, go ahead, but without our funding. Just today I sat down at the S-Bahn station in Taufkirchen, looked up Gründerszene and deutschestartups.de as a preparation for tonight's speech and presentation. And on every day there was one article saying, well, these are top 5 new startups here in Germany. And I had a deeper look at them. So I saw startups like, and these are real evergreens. As Felix told you, we recreated a startup garage in Vienna, based out of all the entrepreneurship courses of our different universities. The best team came to us. And one idea that we, I don't know how many times heard, was like, rent space, rent a room, an apartment, whatever, you name it. A second one, you can find that here as well among the top 5 is find friends. Someone I know who is sitting maybe next to me and didn't recognize him. I'm going to a party and there's a friend of mine, I haven't seen him, and my mobile phone tells me, well, there's this friend. Find presence. Was a guy, Christoph Bitzner, one of my students in Vienna as well, and he worked for 2.5 years on exactly that project. Turned out didn't work. And I'm pretty sure he wasn't the only one in the recent years working on exactly the same idea. We all share the same problem now. We need to find a present for a friend because it's his birthday party. So we are going to use an app or software or mobile application, whatever, you name it again, that helps to solve that problem. Or a job platform. Maybe students sitting here looking for a job after the studies, and well, there's some new magic platform that helps me to find the right company out there. I've seen that dozens of times before. Also, like this is interesting. This is cosmetics, Vegenics cosmetics. I think it's a niche market. But I think for this niche, it would make sense to work on that, so go ahead. But I think this is more like a lifestyle business. And all this reminded me again of one particular story that I keep on telling over and over again to every audience. This is also a former student of mine, and one of the most entrepreneurial guys I've ever seen at the whole business university in Vienna. And if I would say there is someone in Vienna at the WU who's going to make it, who's going to create a successful startup, I think he would be one of the top 10. And of course, he started to create a startup. And it's called I Am Student. What is it about? Vouchers, discounts for students, in a restaurant, in a gym. Ever heard of that idea before? I'm pretty sure. This is successful. to some extent. And I think it's successful because this guy is really entrepreneurial. And the whole team behind the idea is really entrepreneurial. But what I keep telling him and also one of his mentors is, wow, your entrepreneurial spirit on a real good project. This would something which would have the potential to make real impact on this planet. So what I want to tell you is, if you think about starting a company, of course you can give it a try while doing your studies, playing around with some ideas, that's great. But really think twice what exactly you put your effort in. Because you devote a lot of passion, time, energy to really have a deeper look if your idea is going to make it or not. I'm encouraging you to do it, but I'm encouraging you to do it after you've thought about it and after you maybe looked at many other examples out there and analyzed them, and maybe is there really a problem out there that I should address and where I can put all my passion in. Another interesting graph, picture kind of thing. You see the number of unicorns on this planet. What is a unicorn? A company that is valued above $1 billion. We had quite a few back in 2011. Nowadays, one per week. And if you look at the tip of the iceberg, many of them will sound familiar to you. Many things you're actually using every day. But when you really look at the media and many companies in detail, I think we have the discussion for years on Twitter. So where's the revenue model? Are we creating a new bubble? What's really the pain point that someone out there is going to pay for that in a significant way so that these are going to be profitable businesses? And they are all based, they are digital businesses, they are based on mobile or software or internet applications. And this is a good thing because I think we need to catch up, we as the Europeans, we as the Germans, with what's going on in the US in terms of digitalization. But look at Uber. Wow, great company. But what's Uber without a car? What's Uber without communication technologies enabling that the taxi driver can receive our requests from getting from A to B? Think about Square. Great solution for payment, great business model, great company, but imagine Square without the iPad or the iPhone, without the possibility to communicate. So digital business models are urgently needed. We need more of them, work on them. But still, we need also people who create the carriers, the enabling carrier technologies for all this stuff. And these can also be very viable and very promising businesses. Look at this guy. Who has ever heard of coding technologies? You did, definitely. So the Fraunhofer IRS in Nürnberg-Erlangen created the famous MP3. Without MP3, we couldn't carry around all the music. We couldn't share it via the internet. Many business models wouldn't be able without that kind of technology. And this guy, he created a company and sold it for over 200 million to Dolby. A technology enabling all these digital business models today. Look at these guys. Who has ever heard of Novalet? I guess no one. Novalet creates organic LEDs. Novalet was sold for 250 million to Samsung. You won't see that on gründerszene.de or deutschestartups.net. But still, if we want to have high quality TV in the future, in our rooms, in the cinema, wherever, OLED is one of the enabling technologies for that. And based on that high quality screens, we can create high quality content, high quality digital business models maybe. And I want to give you another example. This is a company that approached Fraunhofer from outside. Not Fraunhofer guys, people who really knew how the business of selling shoes worked. And what they figured out as a problem is that still we are using these numbers as a way to translate whether a shoe fits to our foot. Isn't that weird? Why do we need a number for that? Our job to get done is to find exactly the shoe that fits to our foot. That's what their value proposition is. And they had that in mind. So they want to create for like Zalando's or under e-commerce shops or you name it again, the possibility to increase customer satisfaction, to decrease the costs, because you don't have all these return rates when the shoes really fit to your foot when you order them. And you don't need to order the same shoe in 3 different sizes because you're not really sure whether they're going to fit. So great problem, makes sense also for the B2B customer. And of course, this needs to be a seamlessly integrated solution for online shops. So, fair enough, interesting problem, interesting value proposition. So Mifito enables a business model for e-commerce shops that requires precise 3D food data, because without this 3D food data, we don't know how the food actually looks like. And second, we need a precise and up-to-date internal dimensions of all relevant shoes. Imagine you go to Zalando on the website, and maybe 10% of the shoes are only orderable via Mifito, and the others are not. So that in mind, there are I don't know how many shoes coming on the market twice a year, 3 times a year. I'm not really sure, but lots of shoes. And when they started the business, they started by measuring that with their hand. They took a sample of shoes and they started to tinker around. What can I find for a technical solution in order to get this 3D shoe data and also to get 3D foot data? And they just recognized, just by hiring many people and hiring many rulers, it doesn't work. And what they found was an enabling technology. And great that there are people working on that stuff. They found Fraunhofer as a partner who used the CT technology, which we know, which is quite familiar in the medical area. But this CT technology is also able to measure a foot and the shoe. And so there's now a machine, and all these shoes are just running through this machine, and they get all the data, and now the whole business model makes sense. And in addition, who solves the unsolved problems? There are still products that want to be created, but they need very, very tiny micro components. And there's still today no technology that enables to do that in an automatized way, to handle in a production process these very tiny micro components. Cancer problem. I can't imagine any business model innovation that is able, or any digital business model innovation that is able to solve the cancer problem. So there are lots of problems out there that still need to be solved and cannot solve with all the stuff you see maybe on Gründerszene and Deutsche Startups. We need that, but we need that other world as well. So I'm quoting Ernest Shackleton, "Men and women wanted for hazardous journey, small wages, bitter cold, long months of complete darkness, constant danger, safe return doubtful, honor and recognition in case of success." So we still need also more people founding companies, but also devoting more time and energy and passion on high-tech companies. So this is what you're all facing. It's rough land, doesn't look very sexy when you start with your innovation, with a startup project. There's all this fog, this uncertainty ahead. You don't know how it's going to turn out in 3, 4, 5 years. For a high-tech innovation project, this is even more time until you're going to hit the market. And you want to find the promised land. And for someone just writing code or setting up a website, doing an e-commerce business or something like that, it's quite easy. You have a small motocross, you just drive into the fog, And if you see there's nothing, you go back, you iterate on your product, you drive in another direction. Nowadays we call that a pivot. And if you found the promised land and you see it becomes greener, you go there, and well, that's great. But then this is the most relevant challenge for high-tech innovation. We need to invest heavily with our technologies, in order to being able to drive with the product into the fog and see whether there's something worth staying there. And this is a tension we are experiencing at Fraunhofer. I'm experiencing it at Fraunhofer. I've been in business and e-commerce and web entrepreneur, but now I'm trying to work on what I used to call the real problems. Takes some time, takes a little bit longer, but nowadays this is my passion. Is anyone here joining this passion and sharing this passion for high-tech innovation? Make sure that you think twice and then work on these kinds of projects. Thank you very much.